Oftentimes we're asked, why in the world do we go halfway around the world to do missions? Aren't there missions to do in Chattanooga? Well, we do missions in Chattanooga, but this is about why we go to Romania. I started in Romania personally about 9 years ago, and it all came through a time when I was praying. I was turning 51 years old, and I was just considering my life and what maybe God wanted me to do with the rest of my life. And I kind of figured, well, I've got 24 years before the Methodist Church makes me retire. And so what do I want to do with those 24 years? So I asked God to just show me a place to go. And I told him I'd go anywhere in the world and do anything as long as it was to a people group that were overlooked by the others. Well, 30 minutes later, a man walked into my office and said, a group of us have been praying and asking God to show us a guy who would go over to Romania and try to help continue this ministry we started a few years ago. And your name came up. So kind of God sent me there. And in that, I met the Gypsy people and saw how oppressed and how overlooked they've been through centuries. Hardworking people that really would, a lot of them, like a better way of life, but haven't just been given any chances. And yes, yeah, they've had to resort sometimes to things that aren't legal and other ways of getting the things they need. But it's a lot because we've caused the social problem that they live under by not providing a place for them. And so we through First Centenary United Methodist Church, we are trying to help provide a place and provide opportunities for the folks that have been left out for centuries in the world. We've been able to, through that, partner with the United Methodist Church in Romania. The first church, of course, which is in Cluj-Napoca, and it's pastored by a fellow named Raresh Kalugar. He doesn't pastor a gypsy church, but his church kind of has spun out and helped to establish some churches in the gypsy communities. They do a lot of work with orphans through his church. They are involved with a group that's called Alpha Group, which goes into the orphanages, and you can look, Romania has one of the worst orphan problems in the world. They go to Cluj, they go to these orphanages, and the majority of the people in the orphanages even are Roma people. Oftentimes the Roma people will just leave their children in the hospital, maybe hoping they will get a better life, maybe for other reasons too, but still about 80 to 90% of the children in orphanages are Roma. So in a way, even when we began to partner with this church in Cluj, we were working with the Gypsy people as they work to help to make these children's lives better. But out of that, we met a fellow named Samuel Goya, and he is actually establishing a ministry and a mission into 5 villages, well, really now 7 villages in that area around Cluj-Napoca. And he has a church in a village called Comchest, and he brings children from other villages into Comchest to play soccer. When we were there, we went bowling and various other things. And his goal is to build a church in the village of Comchest that the other villages can come to and provide not just a place of worship, but a community center for these families, a place where mothers can come and learn how to sew, or have a place to sew, to make clothes, or even things that they can sell, a place where they can come and wash their children's clothes. One of the big things that keeps gypsy children from going on to school is they have no place to really wash their clothes and keep them clean other than a wash tub. And if we can provide that opportunity for these ladies to come and wash clothes and at the same time learn to read and write themselves, because many of them don't know how, learn the Bible, and just various other things that can be taught to the moms, then we can affect the whole family and give those kids an incentive to go on to school, because then they won't be made fun of for not having clean clothes like the other kids. So Samuel's been a big part of our ministry, and he has a huge heart for the gypsy folks, and it is just to see he and his wife and kids go into those villages and meet and talk and pray with those folks, it's just, you know that he's called by God to minister in and amongst these villages that are around Cluj and populated by the Gypsy people. And such a heart, such a love he has for these folks. And they love him. They flock to him. They come to wherever he is. And he's training these young people up to become leaders in the church, so that then he's not the only pastor or the only person, but he'll have folks from within the Gypsy community itself that are doing the work of the church and reaching the other villages, and who knows where that will go. And so, that's part of what we're doing. They don't have the money, especially the Gypsy people, to build a church for themselves. They don't have much support from the Romanian people. In fact, in the village that Samuel is working in, the mayor is working hard to keep them from being able to build that church because she doesn't like Gypsy people. And so it's an effort that we can get involved in, and we have gotten involved in with providing the money and letters to this mayor that expresses that we're there to partner with them and to help this to succeed. And so through that, the process is beginning, and he's able now to dig the footing for the fence that will be put up, or the just area around the building, and then now to hopefully move some containers onto the property to start the ministry for the laundry facility that we want to do. But he's run into a lot of obstacles, and so with us being white people, just like the Romanian people, they can see that we have a love for the Gypsy and are partnering with Samuel to make this dream come true. Then moving on into another area that we work in the church in Sibiu. It's pastored by Cristian Estrate, and he goes by Christy, and his wife Lygia is very active in that. In fact, she is the United Methodist Women's Director for their annual conference, which includes Romania, Bulgaria, Serbia, Macedonia, not cities, but countries. And so she does a lot of traveling to help these United Methodist women's groups and to help to disciple women as they reach into those communities. What they're doing, and part of what we help them sponsor, is also an outreach to poor kids that live in orphanages around the Sibiu area. And again, about 80% are Roma children. But one of the things that they stress is that they reach out to anyone who is in need. And so you don't have to be Roma or whatever, just as long as you want to learn and have the opportunity, they give that opportunity to these kids. And so they've got a center that started that is after school, and they help them with their homework. They help them to get clean clothes, and even clothes that some of them, there was one girl there who she only had one outfit, and she wore that same outfit every day. And so Christy and Lygia took her shopping and got her a second outfit so that she could at least alternate the outfits that she wore. And so part of the thing, when Troy and I were there, we left them money so they could buy clothes for these orphan kids, so they would have more than one outfit or two outfits to wear to school. I don't know about you guys, but if I'd have worn the same outfit to school, when I was in middle school and all, kids would have made fun of you. You would have been ostracized. And so we're trying to help avoid that by providing the opportunity for these kids. And again, the pastors, they use their own income a lot of times to supply and support these ministries. Their average income is like $4,000 a year. And so when we're able to partner with them, and we're able to just even give them money where they can buy clothes and food for the kids, we're helping the pastor's family, and then we're helping these kids to feel better about themselves, to want to go to school and have a better opportunity to learn and to grow and to become what they could be. A new endeavor that we have now is we have helped to finish the foundation in a village called Salacia. Troy got to preach there, and I think there was like 60, 70 people in a jam-packed little building. And we are helping them to expand to a community center themselves out of this small building that's actually caving in. It's why they even need a new place. And we've provided the money to purchase that land. We provided the money to do the foundation, and we're providing the money to help them to construct this church. And it's all attended by Gypsy people, and many of them are working folks. They're on the Hungarian border, and they're able to cross the border and to find work and work in one of the factories that I think one of them makes socks, one of them makes shoes. There's a factory close by there that actually makes wiring harnesses for Volkswagen. And they'll oftentimes employ the Gypsy in those because they're jobs that a lot of other people don't want. They're low-paying jobs, 12-hour shifts, but these folks really want to work. So they'll oftentimes, the Gypsy are the ones that will take these jobs because they do want to work, and it gives them an opportunity. So Roby is the pastor of that church, and he also pastors another church in a little village called Balea Lui Mihai. And we actually left the money this past time to help them to get the paperwork to purchase a piece of property in a village of 5,000 that has no church. They meet in a garage, and there's about 100 folks that meet in that garage. Oftentimes they're on the outside of the church, even listening to the music and the preaching and things like that. And the mayor of that village, which is a Romanian, has seen what that church has been able to accomplish in the lives of the Roma people that live there. And so he is really trying to help them to be able to establish this community center because he's seen the difference that it's made in the lives of these folks. And these are the opportunities that we have right now in Romania. There are folks that, if we weren't there, they wouldn't be able to build these things. They wouldn't be able to reach these orphans. They wouldn't be able to provide clothes. They wouldn't be able to provide food. They wouldn't be able to provide the opportunity for washing and clean clothes so that these kids can have an opportunity to go on. The majority of Roma kids don't go to school past the 8th grade. A lot of them don't go to school at all. And this gives an opportunity for them to get an education and to move forward in life because they feel good about themselves, feel like they can accomplish something, know that somebody believes in them, even if we are halfway around the world. They know we believe in them. And Troy can testify that when we go over there, the folks just love and hover around us and just are so grateful that we're people who may be halfway around the world from them, but we care deeply about them and want to see them succeed in their life. So these are some of the reasons why we're in Romania. And we just ask that you continue to pray and ask God how you can support this. Ask him if maybe you can go on a trip or maybe you don't feel like traveling a 12-hour plane ride, but you can help somebody else to go. Or you can just give money to help to provide for the ministries. Oftentimes, you don't have to be there to be involved, but just to know that those gifts are so greatly appreciated by the people that we give these gifts to. Again, you can ask Chris or Will or Troy when we've offered these gifts to people, just how touched and how humbled they are to know that somebody loves and cares for them. And again, talk to Chris Motherman about how desperately those orphan kids need affection. We walked into an orphanage, first time that this Alpha group had ever even been in this orphanage. And these boys, a couple of boys that just really probably needed some man to look up to, just hovered around Chris and Will and I, just wanting that affection that they don't get on a regular basis. So why are we needed? Why do we go there? Because God has called us to give love to a people that, unfortunately, the majority of the folks in that area don't give love to them. So we're called to go there and show them love and share the love with them and offer them this wonderful grace and love that comes from Jesus Christ. Aren't there churches in Romania? That's what I've been asked a lot. And yes, there are churches in Romania, but I found for the most part that a lot of the churches don't accept the gypsy or the poor even in their churches. My oldest son and I, we were when we were traveling over there and doing ministry, we started a Bible study. We started an outreach with the folks in the community, and they were coming to this Bible study, and we thought, we're just going to be here 3 weeks. These folks need to have a body to belong to, a family, a support system. And so we took them to visit some churches in the community. And in most of those churches, we were told we had to sit in a certain section. We couldn't sit with the rest of the people. Some weren't welcomed at all. And we began to realize that there was a huge prejudice issue, a huge issue like we've experienced in America ourselves, where a certain people group was not included into the church. And so, we really prayed for the opportunity to be able to come back. And I even talked to a couple of bishops and said, I've been to Romania and there's not a Methodist church over there. And so I began to pray for that to happen. And then a few years later, I heard about this movement that was happening in Cluj, and was able to go to Texas, actually, where Raresh was coming to a meeting of In Mission Together. And the whole thing of In Mission Together is partnering with Methodist churches in poor areas of the world that can't support themselves. And so I developed this friendship with Raresh and felt his heart and knew his heart. And the first thing that he talked about was, yes, they wanted to build churches for gypsies. And I knew God had sent that friendship, because that was what was on my heart, is to be able to provide community centers and churches for the folks, because they weren't welcomed in the other. And the Methodist Church is open to all people. And we don't exclude people or believe that people are born into a certain class and that they can't be helped. But we believe that everybody has the love and can receive love and grace from God, no matter what class you're born into, no matter what race you're born into. And so the opportunity to help folks see that and understand that is another reason why we're building United Methodist churches there. Second reason, besides the fundamentalist theology, is that 98%, or about between 90 and 98% of the churches are Orthodox churches. And the Orthodox Church was corrupted by communism years and years and years ago, and it still is corrupted today. In fact, we have a picture that we took while we were there, that if a person wants prayer from the priest, they have to pay them or bribe them to pray for them. And they won't pray for you unless you pay. They won't offer a prayer for you. They won't listen to your prayers. They won't minister to you unless you can pay them on top of the salary that they make. And the Orthodox priests make a salary from the government already, but they want to make even more money. So, and it's not all the Orthodox. There's a movement called the Lord's Army over there that's trying to reform the Orthodox Church, but they're very, very, very few. And but the majority of the Orthodox, they're not going to pray for you or offer you any services in the church unless you can pay them extra. And the more money that you offer them, the more that they say God will hear what you have to pray about. Where the gypsy going to get money to pay the priest to pray for them? So they feel left out by the Orthodox churches as well, because they can't come and pay for somebody to pray for them if they have a need or pain, or if they're struggling and need guidance and help or somebody to talk to. They can't do it because they don't have the money to pay the priest. So there's that system that keeps them from being able to be a part of even what could and should be a more orthodox theology, because the priests are so corrupt. And so in the United Methodist Church, as I've said in part of the video, in the United Methodist Church, those pastors are not just out there doing ministry but they're oftentimes using their salary that they get to provide the ministries, to provide the clothes, to provide the food, to provide the things that they're supplying to these villages. And so we're out there showing them that that's the way God is. God's not looking at us to bring him sacrifices or money or whatever. God wants to reach us and give us the things we need, and he hears us no matter who we are, no matter whether we're rich or poor, no matter what class system we're involved in. God hears us, and that's what we want to teach through the United Methodist Church in Romania, that God is for all people, not just a select group of people.
Hello for Centenary Church, hello from Romania, I'm Samuel, and I really like to take this time to thank you for sending Barry and Troy this time to help us and encourage us. I really feel that we are partners in all the ministry that we are doing in the village of Comșești and also in the other villages around the city Cluj. Thank you for your encouragement, thank you for supporting us with everything that you can. Thank you because you are so obedient towards God, and I really thank you that you give sacrificial for His kingdom. Thank you, really, God bless you, and hope to see you someday there. Amen.